Member Monday. Member Monday. Getting to know people at Urban Place.
Urban Place. Upgrade your life's work.
Hello and welcome to Urban Place's Member Monday, where each week we speak with Urban Place members. And today we have with us
Julie Gray.
Julie, what do you do?
I am a story editor.
Story editor.
Yeah.
What kind of stories?
I work with fiction and creative nonfiction writers. So there's many different kinds of editors. And when most people think of the word editor, they think someone like a proofreader or a copy editor. But I'm a story or developmental editor, which means that I work with, again, fiction and creative nonfiction with the whole story, with the whole narrative, with the writer, the characters, the dialogue. So I have a background in working in the entertainment business as a story analyst. So I work with the story and how the book reads.
Let's go back. Story analyst.
Yep. Or in LA, you would just call a script reader. Mm-hmm. I started off as a script reader anyway, and would read up to 4 to 5, 6 scripts a day.
Wow.
Every, about 5-6 days a week.
So you don't watch movies anymore?
Oh, God, no. I read books. I've seen every movie ever. But that's a really great job, and that's a really hard job. There were a lot of readers in Hollywood at the time. This is 10 years ago, but I think things have changed a little bit. But that used to be a really good job. It's a freelance job, running around LA, driving on the freeways, picking up boxes of scripts. And in fact, I worked in that business for a few years, and pretty soon I had my own script reading business, and I hired readers. And I wrote a book called Just Effing Entertain Me, which is about the world of readers and what we do.
What interesting stories do you have from that time in LA?
I loved living in LA, and I had neighbors and friends who were, famous people working in the business. I had a lot of hilarious star sightings, like seeing famous people in cafes or whatever. I made friends with one of the Simpsons writers at my favorite bar, Dan McGrath. Hey, Dan. Gosh, Queen Latifah, so I just got to meet cool people. I got to go to lots of meetings, and it was just really an amazing time, and it's an amazing place.
What brought you to Israel?
I would visit Israel. I came here for the first time in 2009, and I came for a visit, and I did that thing that people always roll their eyes about, but I got off the plane, and I felt like I was home, and I cannot explain it.
Did you kiss the ground?
Thank God. No, I did not do that. I just felt this instant, something about this place. And I'd always read about Israel and talked about Israel. So the first time I came to visit in 2009, I felt like I was home. So I made Aliyah in 2012, so it took me a little while. I have a lot to say about moving from Hollywood and LA to Israel. Was just such a huge change for me. And I'm writing a book about that called They Do Things Differently Here. Which is, it's about grief. I won't pull punches. I lost my brother in 2010. And so I decided to make Aliyah to kind of start over, to do like kind of an Eat, Pray, Love, which is not exactly what happened, but it's been wonderful. When I came here, I really could not speak any Hebrew at all. Maybe the Shema. So very quickly I learned that, saying the Shema cannot get you a falafel. So, I went to Ulpan and did all that, but it was, something to get away from the life that I had before, to start a new life over, reinvent myself. But there were some challenges of coming here that were, I didn't really realize, but it was actually pretty hilarious mostly.
Member Monday. Member Monday. Getting to know people at Urban Place.
Who are your clients?
I would say from the U.S., the UK, and Israel, but most of my clients are now in Israel, and they're usually English-speaking transplants who have been in Israel, though, for 20, 30, 40 years. I work with a lot of journalists, academics, or people, who are trying to write fiction for the first time. So most of my clients are pretty experienced writers and professionals who've been in Israel for some time. I would love to actually say some of their names, but for privacy's sake, I won't, because some of them are well known.
You only work in English?
Yeah, I only work in English, yeah.
Are you striving to know Hebrew well enough to work in Hebrew?
No.
No.
No, I strive to speak Hebrew better on a daily basis out of respect for the language and for all that that means, because I'm a book freak and a word freak, and I love, my Judaism and I love Hebrew. But for working as an editor, I'm a real pop culture queen. I have read every book. I have seen every movie. That's my strength as an editor. So, and I understand that all through the through the English language. So I don't think I could ever get a grasp enough of Hebrew to put my foot in that, in that water.
When you started this occupation in Israel, did you work from home?
Yeah. I worked at home when I first came to Israel. When I was in LA, I had a really cute little office on the oldest studio lot in LA that Charlie Chaplin had founded. It was called The Lot. And I have a lot of great stories. Jodie Foster was my neighbor across the hall, and John Cusack and Alan Ball, and that was amazing. But when I came to Israel, I worked at home, or I would do the cafe thing. And editing is a very quiet, lonely task in a way. You really have to focus and get really lost in what you're doing. So it can be really isolating. And so if you work, at a cafe or something like that, it's kind of good because you're out of the house, but it's ultimately not the best solution. And an office is really much nicer.
And how did you get here to Urban Place?
I found Urban Place because I have a lot of, I'm kind of a social media hound, and I'm on social media a lot. And I was in another office nearby that's more for tech people. So I had taken the step to shell out to get an office and to, get back into that vibe of having my own office space. And I found another, shared workspace. But I found that it was not very diverse in who was there. Mm-hmm. So I said something on social media, and a friend of mine on Facebook who has an office at Urban Place said, wait, I think you're right up the street from us. Why don't you come here? So I came here to see her. And it is night and day here. It is so much more fun and vibrant at this place.
What do you like about it?
What I love about Urban Place, and in all sincerity, really, is the diversity in age, gender, race, and occupation. Where I was before, and I've worked with startup people before. When I first came to Israel, I used my storytelling skills in that way, right? So I love startup and I love tech people, but it's a really different culture. Tech is a kind of a specific culture. And at Urban Place, there's tech people, yeah, but there's all kinds of people here. And you feel that here. It's kind of a friendly environment. And yeah, as an American woman who's in my 50s, it's really nice to be somewhere and not feel like the token older woman there or something. Here, there's lots of people of all kinds of stripes, and it's just a really friendly place.
Have you made any connections with people professionally or personally?
I have. I've pitched 2 projects here because of connections at Urban Place. I've pitched to a large European television distributor, a series by a client of mine, and I've pitched a manuscript by another client of mine to an agent here. So yeah, but you do have to sort of get out and meet people. But yes, very quickly, I've when you just are friendly and you say hello to people, and when I tell people I'm a story editor, what people in the entertainment business hear or publishing is content. And they're right. That's what I have. I have content. So I've made some very good connections very quickly.
Where do you see yourself in the future, professionally?
I see myself as being a published memoirist. I have my own memoir, and also speaking and talking to people about the Gidon Project and my role in that.
What is the Gidon Project?
So the Gidon Project is a collaborative memoir about the life of Gidon Lev, an 84-year-old Holocaust survivor who lives here in Israel. And I say it's a collaborative memoir because Gidon wrote the story of his life, and then I came into the picture and I got a number of writers to contribute essays to the book, about meeting Gidon and what their reflections are and what their questions are about their Jewish identity, the history of Israel, what happened in the Holocaust, and particularly in terrorism.
This is like a commentary track for a Holocaust autobiography.
Yes, exactly. It's a more contemporary iteration of a Holocaust memoir than we've seen before, because Gidon is not Elie Wiesel, and he's not Primo Levi. He's an ordinary Israeli guy, except he happens to also be a hero and have survived something terrible. So I would compare the Gidon Project to like Tuesdays with Morrie. It's going to be an uplifting book with a number of writers contributing. Some pretty famous writers are working with me about the effect that Gidon had on them, his story had on them, and what we can say about the Holocaust today.
Is it going to only be published in print, or will there be like an interactive version to it?
I would love to do podcasts about it. There will be an audiobook. It will be in print. I am really a fan of innovation in terms of content, so it'll be available in a number of ways.
Julie Gray, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you work at Urban Place and you want to be featured on this podcast, please contact your community manager or email us. Thank you very much and see you next week.
This was another episode of Member Monday, getting to know people at Urban Place. Member Monday. If you want to be featured on the show, contact us at up@podcasty.co.